morning or afternoon, depending on where you're listening from. Trust your day is going great. We're about to make it even better. My name is Sandra from BellaNaija Style, and I'll be on the hosting duties for the final session of our BellaNaija Style and worthy series tagged HerVersations. So, for those of you joining us for the first time, we have had two power-packed virtual conversations spanning across gender equality and female economic empowerment. So, for today's session, we'll be discussing the advocacy and economic empowerment for African women with four leading ladies in media, advocacy fields, and male dominated industries to have forward-thinking conversations on gender equality and female economic empowerment. So joining me today is Latasha Ngwube, Detutu Ajibodu, Rhoda Robinson, and Ifeoma Monye. I've seen a lot of people joining. Thank you for joining in. Good evening, good afternoon, good day, wherever you're joining it from. Let's invite our speakers and then get the ball rolling. Okay. How you doing? So if you have any questions, once we are done with the session, we have like a 10-minute time slot where we can allow you to ask any questions. But make sure that it is straight, concise, straight to the point. And all. Okay, so let's invite our speakers in and then we'll get started. How you doing? Tommy, welcome. Paul, I'm glad to see you here. Ben, welcome. Hi, Detutu. Thanks for joining in. Welcome. Trying to invite you for some reason. Having a little bit of difficulties, but we'll get that sorted very soon. Okay. Hi, how you doing? Sorry, this is taking a bit of time. I'm still trying to find the hack to what we are experiencing right now. Welcome. How you doing, Bisola? Okay. So we're waiting on some of our speakers. Joining me is Latasha Ngwube, who is one of Africa's most dynamic creative entrepreneurs. She is a noted journalist, media personality, fashion, lifestyle, and political analyst. She's also a body positivity advocate and founder of About That Curve Live, Africa's premier online destination aimed at inspiring and supporting plus-size community. Up next, we have Detutu Ajibodu, who is a gender-based response and child protection specialist, an advocate for child rights, women, and youth empowerment. And she is passionate about her work in the social development space, and she's currently the CEO of CC Yara Foundation. Hi, Hazy. Thank you for joining in. Kindly request so that we can get started. and then I can include you to the conversation. Okay. Hello. Sorry for the break in transmission. We're having some technical difficulties, but we'll make sure we get it sorted pretty soon.
It's great to be here.
Yeah. Hi,
Hello.
Latasha. How you doing?
Hi.
Hi,
Hi,
Robinson.
BellaNaija.
How you doing?
Hi,
How's your
Hi,
day going?
Latasha. Hi, everyone.
I think one of our speakers is down there. Okay, now she's been converted to a speaker.
Yeah,
Okay,
we've been
Ifeoma Monye.
having some issues, but if you can send requests, that can probably I think it's just a day to two.
Yes, that's what
Yeah.
I did. I just clicked the request button and then it
Exactly,
went.
on the
Yeah, so
microphone.
just
Yes.
click the
Yeah.
request. Adetutu, if you can hear us, kindly click the request button so that we can just get
Mm.
started.
Hi,
I think
ladies.
Detutu
I'm
is
so
off.
glad to be here.
Hi. Welcome. So I was doing a brief intro before I found out that I couldn't get you guys on board. I was like, oh my god, we have to do this. So let's start.
Okay, so
afresh.
let's reintroduce.
Yeah, let's just start. Good evening.
Start with you. Introduce yourself.
My name is Sandra. I'm a team member from BellaNaija Style, and I'll be on hosting duties for our final session of our BellaNaija Style and WRTHY series tagged HerVersations. So for those of you joining in for the first time, we've already had two power-packed virtual conversations spanning across gender equality and female economic empowerment. But for today's session, we'll be joined by four leading ladies in media, advocacy fields, and male-dominated industry to kind of have forward-thinking conversations on gender equality and female economic development. Now, I think you've heard her voice. Joining me is Latasha Ngwube. I'm so sorry, Latasha. Latasha Ngwube, who is one of
I mean,
Africa's most dynamic.
sorry that you're butchering my ancestors.
Please kindly correct me. I want to pronounce your name correctly. Hi, Latasha.
Ngwube. Can you hear me? Ngwube.
Ngwube. So joining
Ngwube.
me is
Ngwube.
Latasha Ngwube, who is one of Africa's most dynamic creative entrepreneurs. She's a noted journalist, media personality, fashion, lifestyle, and political analyst. And she's also a body positivity advocate and founder of About That Curvy Life, which is Africa's premier online destination aimed at inspiring and supporting the plus size community, and is the newly appointed voter for the 80th Golden Globes. Hi, Latasha. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Up next, we have Detutu Ajibodu, Lord, who is a gender-based response and child protection specialist, an advocate for child rights, women and youth empowerment, and who is also passionate about her work in the social development space. She's currently the CEO of the CCYAR Foundation. Hi, Detutu. How you doing? It's
Hi,
good to
you've
have
murdered
you
my
here.
surname, stabbed it, torn it in pieces.
I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. So
It's
how do I
okay.
pronounce it correctly?
Ajibodu.
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 Yeah.
Hey, Rhoda. Good to have you here. Hi, Latasha.
Hi, Detutu.
Hey, my people. Happy to be here.
Yeah, happy to have you here. So up next is Up next is Rhoda Robinson, the executive director of Hazy Health Initiative, a development organization focused on empowering and supporting undeserved population, especially women and young people. She's an accomplished development practitioner with over 13 years experience and a successful track record in developing and implementing high impact interventions towards addressing challenges and achieving the goal of a healthy and sustainable society for all. Hi, Rhoda. It's good to have
Hi.
you here.
It's good to
I
be
feel like
here.
if we were to talk about all your achievements, all our speakers have we'll probably not leave here today. But we're trying as
At all.
much as possible to kind of like take our excerpts and then mention just a few things about them before we get started. Last but certainly not the least, joining us as a speaker is Ifeoma Monye, President of the International Women's Society, IWS, a seasoned strategist, project executor, and operation management specialist with over 20 years experience. She's an expert at guiding individuals and organizations in articulating their visions, building efficient processes and systems to drive optimal performance by providing them with necessary tools to build sustainable institutions and legacies. Welcome. Thank you for being here, Ifeoma. It's so good to have everybody here.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Hello,
hope you're
everyone.
doing great. Okay,
Yes.
let's get started. Our time has been fast spent. So before we move on to the question, it's no doubt that women's economic empowerment is a prerequisite for inclusive and equitable economic growth. Evidence shows that women's participation in the economy drives better performing and more resilient businesses and supports economic growth and wider development goals for nations. Women's economic empowerment also helps women and girls gain the skills, resources, and opportunities to participate equally in markets and to control and benefit from their earnings. So it's important that boosting women's economic empowerment is very key to achieving gender equality, but pervasive social norms and discrimination continue to keep women from thriving in the workforce. Now, women in this part of the world are less likely to work than men, and women's participation in the labor force is limited in developing economies alike. Now, to just kickstart it, and this question is straight to Rhoda, and then everybody can follow suit. In what ways can we promote women economic empowerment in Africa? Hi, Rhoda.
Hi, Sandra.
Yeah.
Okay. It's first and foremost great to be here and to meet and listen to all this wonderful, wonderful power, women of power, basically. So the question is, how can we promote women's economic empowerment? Yeah.
Yeah, in Africa, yes.
In Africa.
Yeah.
Well, so I think I'll take it two ways. Yeah. I'll take it from a more global perspective in terms of us looking at it from institutional and systemic strategies. ensuring that our policies are gendered. And when I say gendered, I mean that when we develop economic policies and strategies, we do them with the awareness that most of the times there are inherent challenges that women face that prevent them from being a part or benefiting from this economic policies. Let me give you an instance. When we say that we are developing, we're creating more jobs, and we are not taking into consideration that a lot of women, a lot of females do not have the opportunity to apply for those jobs, or they are discriminated against when they do apply for those jobs. So a lot of them step back and don't come forward. So from an overview perspective, we say that, this economic policy has provided 10,000 jobs. However, in reality, only about 500 women can actually benefit from those things. So when we are looking at economic empowerment for African women or for women in Africa, we need to look at it when we're saying from a policy perspective, ensuring that those policies are gendered. They take consideration of the realities women face when they are being designed. And then when we are looking at it as a societal plane, we need to first, again, understand the realities of women and what those barriers are that prevents women from being economically empowered. Are they disadvantaged when it comes to access to education? Are they disadvantaged when it comes to access to finance? Are they disadvantaged when it comes to access to information? So these key aspects or key factors contribute to successful economic empowerment for women. So talking about economic, so it is not just about creating jobs. It's about creating jobs that women can actually take or apply for or be employed for. So it is the spectrum is very, very it's wide, and the issue is very, very wide. But we need to start like digging deep into women's economic giving them that opportunity and ensuring that they are able to take those opportunities.
Yeah, speaking of taking, and this question is to Latasha, taking, the opportunities available, what rights do you think women lack? Where are the barriers that are locking them, out of the economic system? Hi, Latasha. You're muted.
Hi.
Yeah, I can hear you
again?
clearly.
Can you take that again, please?
Yeah, speaking on women's rights, what rights do women actually lack in this part of the world? And what are the barriers that are locking them out of the economic system?
Oh, wow. Do we have enough time to answer this part? Do we have
We can
enough?
do as we can just, put everything up, sum everything up in like few words.
There are no few words for this because it's a very grave. It's not a question that should be minimized or response that should be minimized. However, with respect to the question, rights that women lack, it's endless. Really, we know them. We know the things that we don't have access to: good credit access, financial literacy programs, reform laws that should allow women apply for loans without male relative permission, improve gender disaggregated data. I mean, there's no end to it. But let me pick something really very simple and very small and relatable. Barriers that lock women out of the economic system. Something as small as our inheritance rights, for example.
Yeah.
I was in conversations with my dad maybe like 2 months ago, and my dad always has this thing where he doesn't like to talk about anything morbid. But from childhood, I've always embraced morbidity. So death and things like that are conversations that I don't mind having. And so I don't know what he said. And okay, actually, let me bring it back. He gave my sister his phone to do a transfer, right? So it means that my sister had his PIN and things like that to be able to do the transfer. So I chuckled and I said to him, so finally we can now take your phone in case something happens. And he started laughing, but then he said, well, your brother will be the one that you'll be having that conversation with. I am older than somebody who is older than the first boy. If you know me, you know that there was commotion that day in the house. I was like, what are we talking about here? It's funny, right? It's funny.
Yeah.
But this is my father who went to school in America, graduated top of his class, has 2 degrees from an American university from the 60s, and is having this kind of conversation with me in 2022. How do we really get over things like that?
Hi, Latasha.
So you have countries like, yes, can you hear me?
And I was enjoying the conversation. Think we lost you there.
I'm so sorry. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I
I'm
can hear
here.
you now.
But I can hear Latasha.
Please.
Okay.
Yeah, I can
Okay.
hear you now.
I don't know where you stopped hearing me, but let me just quickly summarize to say this. So we have countries like Ghana, Zambia, and Botswana who have achieved varying degrees of success when it comes to, these inheritance issues and things like that. But Nigeria, we're still struggling. I understand it was only not that long ago that Rivers State finally ratified it, and now women in Rivers State can assume ownership of property when their fathers die. Imagine the stats that men already have in life when you know you are destined to inherit your father's land, property, businesses, and things like that. You don't have to, so even if that boy didn't go to school, or the entire children of this man didn't go to school, just having that already puts you on a higher pedestal and a faster inner track to getting your life together as opposed to the average woman. That's just one microcosm of the things that some of the barriers that women are where we are excluded from the conversation. Do you see what I mean? So when I say that it is so wide and I don't even know where to begin, that's just one example of some of those factors. Thank you.
Thank you, Latasha. We'll go to Ifeoma. What do you think we can do as women to stand in solidarity with each other?
Thank you so much. There's a lot we can do. We need to first of all start with educating one another, being there for one another, supporting one another, sharing information. Education is important. Most times the issue is that lack of knowledge, or people don't know what to do, where to go, where to get information. So one of the first things we can do is to empower and support each other. Again, through International Women's Society, that's what we do. We're there for women. We ensure that, for example, going on what Latasha said in terms of inheritance of widows, we deal a lot with widows where someone loses her husband while she's still trying to deal with that. The in-laws have come and taken the property and everything, and she's left out on her own. So knowing that she has her rights, what are the rights? Who can help her? Where does she go to? Who can help her fight that? And education is important. Not only we're not just talking about formal education of primary, secondary, which is also very important, but it's also people need to know what they have, what they have with them. So it's important that we have support groups. We're able to know where she can go to, whether it's from domestic violence or she needs to be able to access a loan and all that. So we need to be able to build more communities where women can go say what their issues are, and also we need to share our own stories so that way that people know that they're not alone. Women know that there are other people that are facing the issues they're facing and have somewhere they can go to. So having those communities, having the NGOs, having the societies that are able to help women, empower them. And again, we don't even need to go through this formal system of NGOs. It's one another. How are we helping our sister? How are we helping our relatives? Helping the people in our community, whether it's even the people helping us or at work. So it's ensuring that we're there for one another, being empathetic, understanding the issues, and having the right resources. I also think it's important. Education is so important in everything we're talking about.
Yeah.
Because find out that that 2/3 of the population that are illiterate are women. So
Yeah.
education plays a big part of it. Another thing is that compared to men, girls are more likely to drop out of school. So how is it that they're not able to empower themselves? I see women all the time who are not given the opportunity to either get formal education or informal. I'll give you a perfect example. We started a chess program for girls. I actually was looking at it for girls and was trying to give the opportunity to girls who had never have the opportunity. Why did we choose chess? Because it's something that you can use. The benefits are more than just the game. You use it in all parts of your life. And so we decided to go for girls. And the next day I get a call. We are going to see the O'Neill, what do you call them? The ballet and the Oba. Yes,
Okay.
to get the girls in the community to come because we're doing it free. Next thing, we got a lot of women who were interested. So I got a call to say, can women at this program? And I said, for sure. I didn't think about them, but if they're interested, I meet a 23-year-old woman who has 5 kids, has never had any sort of education, but she wants to be able to also learn so that she can empower herself. And I said, fantastic. This is someone who's 23, 5 children, never been to school, and yet is still looking for that opportunity. So I said, fantastic. So we need to be there for one another. We need to be able to educate people and also ensure that whatever it is they're facing, they know they are not alone and we're there for them. I think that's
Thank you so much, Ifeoma. And this Detutu, this is like just leading to my next question. How can we expand women's links to each other? We've talked about coaching, education, mentorship. What steps do we take as women that we can empower each other?
Okay, first I'll say that I enjoyed Ifeoma's response to the last question. I am big on collaborations. I am big on small groups, etc. Before I answer the question, I wanted to say that for the question Latasha answered, I was just going to piggyback on that and say that we're saying that how can we promote women economic empowerment?
Hello, this is. I can't hear you
Can you hear
anymore.
me? Yeah, sorry, that
Okay, you
lost
just
my
came
voice. I
back.
just came back. Yes, I was going to say that I am happy, like Rhoda said earlier, she's happy to be here with powerful women. It takes guts for women to step up and assume those roles and assume their rightful positions. It takes guts. It has become a norm whereby women don't have access to this. We're used to women don't have access to that. But we are where we are today. I, Detutu, as CEO of a foundation, Rhoda as co-founder of her organization, and the remaining women here. It takes guts to step up to be in those roles, and people pave the way for us to be here. I think we need to, what I'm trying to say is let's change it. I wish more and more women would be courageous to encourage changing the narrative and not just sit back and say, oh, okay, we don't have access to it anyway. And we'll just sit back and not do anything about it. So we need to step up and, just push through and get our voices back. So I'll just roll into the question you just asked me. I said I'm big on collaborations and small groups. A lot of people, when we're talking about mentorship, how do we expand women's link to each other? This is an example here, right here. We don't have to. A lot of people wait for corporate organizations to set up some kind of session or some kind of group of mentorship or mentoring, bring mentee and mentor together. No, it starts with just 2 people. It started with me being here at all was just one connection. It was just us, it didn't have to be mentor-mentee relationship. It was just a collaboration. It was a subtle sort of networking, a subtle sort of coaching that got me here today, where I'm speaking in this space. So it starts with this group of people, little groups form into bigger groups. So mentoring doesn't have to be structured. We can have small groups. I could almost say, because I'm so passionate about this, I could almost say all of us in this group, let's come together and start looking for a sort of mentorship program we can do for others. Because the more we say we want to, we need, people need mentoring. I won't lie to you. Yes, I'm CEO. I still look out for people that can mentor me. And it doesn't have to be someone who is necessarily high profile. It could be the next person who's been there before me. It could be someone who's experienced or worked in a bigger organization before me. So it's just creating those small groups, creating access to networking. You know, usually we will wait for workrooms. It doesn't have to be formal. So that's my take on this. It could be as small as 2 people. It could be as small as 5 people. You know, let's help one another. Let's mentor one another. That's my take on this.
Thank you so much, Detutu. And then piggyback on mentoring one another and then creating like a small group. And then, how do we, and this question is for Latasha, how can we ensure widespread public acceptance even without government and societal buy-in? Hi, Latasha. Can you hear me?
Sorry, I muted. Yes, I was muted again.
Okay. Did you get the question?
How we can ensure widespread acceptance, public acceptance?
Even without government and societal buy-in.
That question is a bit tricky.
I'm coming from the place of. I can hear you, Latasha.
Okay, go on.
Yeah, so I was coming from the place of, probably using the media to seeing that you're a media person, if, using your platform to forward, to push, the message, and which you've done, because I think I checked your Instagram page and I saw that there was a summit.
If you can hear me, I can't hear a single thing. It's just been static. If anyone can hear me.
Can you hear me?
Loud and clear.
I can hear you clearly.
I think it's the network from your end, Latasha.
Hello.
Hi, Latasha. Can you hear me?
If you can hear me, I'm going to leave and try to join again.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay.
Answer that question.
Yeah. Okay.
You
can go ahead.
About media. I think media and all that is good. However, we're not necessarily. It doesn't mean that people can hear. Does not mean they're listening. I think who are we speaking to apart from other women? We're speaking to men. Whether it be government, private, we all have influence. We all have fathers, brothers, sons, cousins. So I think we need to start having this conversation. We want to start from the family level, whether it's even with your friends, and you have these conversations. And say, okay, how do we ensure that women are empowered, women are given the opportunities? We need to have these conversations with people that would normally listen to us, and that way we have that influence. If whoever is making the policy, whoever is even in media, whoever is creating this, is the man or whoever has some relative that is a. So if they see from that perspective of what would I want for my daughter, what would I want for my wife, what would I want for my sister, what would I want for my mother, it's more relatable. So I think we need to have those conversations. And I always say that's the best way to start in your sphere of influence. And that way you're able to build up on that.
Yeah, speaking of men being good allies, this question is for Robinson. What are the ways men can be good allies, and what do we need to do to engage and inspire male advocates?
So I always feel that sometimes when we talk about engaging men, we kind of do it as though they're like a separate entity, and it's like a man against woman, and we're trying to buy them over to our side sometimes. But really, it's about having them to understand the importance of, and then everything boils down to equality, basically. Having them understand the importance of equal rights and the importance of um equal opportunity.
Yeah.
So most of the time you find that when we talk about women's rights and gender's rights, it's always focused to women. And I think there was one point, and we're running a program, and it was a program for girls, and we're talking about sexual and reproductive health, like reproductive development of girls. And a lot of boys do not understand menstruation. And that period of every woman, I'm sure there are a lot of women here and out there who go through hell during their periods and they can't do anything. And trying to explain that to a man who has no concept of it in the first place, it becomes very difficult. So it's in the same vein explaining the importance of women's empowerment. If we don't start at the beginning, while we are trying to get women to stand up and understand their rights and take and claim agency for most of the things that they need and they require to fulfill their potentials, we also need to carry men along to understand why that is important.
Yeah.
And it is in the basis of that understanding that we can gain the support and them as allies. Because it's not now that they are not it now goes beyond supporting women. It goes to supporting what is right.
Yeah.
Because that is basically it. It is not because we are women that we are screaming about it. It's because it is wrong in first place. The system is wrong. The system is subjugating women, and it's women that are bearing the brunt of it. So we need to change that system because first and foremost, it is wrong. And then having them understand this makes them appreciate more that things like this should not occur, especially to women who have as equal rights to existence as men do.
Thank
So
you.
that's having that explanation. And then, of course, as the point at which we cannot ignore the fact that we live in a patriarchal society.
Yes.
We are working hard to change that, but this is our reality. We live in a patriarchal society, and most of the power resides on the male gender. So we need to be able to carry them along and say, this is why you need to be involved. This is why you need to use your influence to ensure that women are also well represented and equally appreciated and valued in our society.
Thank you, Rhoda. Latasha, welcome back.
Yeah.
Hi,
Thank you.
Yes,
Rhoda,
you can go on.
Really
You wanted to speak on the challenges.
Yes. No, I wanted to add on something that Rhoda said. Rhoda, that was really powerful, by the way. But I would love to also say that I think one of the ways to engage men as allies, because our people say they learn to chop with left hand for old age. Do you understand? Which really means that there's a certain sect of society, that's men in society, that are already gone. You're not going to uproot their belief system and everything. We have to, first of all, start with the young ones right now. Mothers at home, teachers at school, sisters, cousins, all of it. We have to begin to imbibe the need for these changes, because achieving gender equality and empowerment of women and girls is really about challenging, first of all, patriarchal beliefs. That is the first thing that we're challenging. Without patriarchal beliefs, the half the battle is already won. If men didn't believe that women shouldn't go to school, or women shouldn't earn this amount, or women shouldn't have this job, then what are we then fighting? So the first thing we're dismantling are patriarchal beliefs. Who enforces patriarchal beliefs? It's men, and then supported by women who are oppressed. And so for us to undo that, we have to start with the generation that is coming. So patriarchal beliefs, practices, and institutions and structures that drive inequality between women and men have to be dismantled, but it has to be imbibed from the young ones and then bring them up, because that's the only way we can have a true roadmap to equality, maybe by like a 2050 or 2060, because by then the ones who are 0 or 5 and below would be in their late 20s and so on, and then they have a more formative idea of what life is about and how interactions with women should be. So that's my submission.
And this is just that's what you said again. And that what you said is just like, when you look at who actually pushes these beliefs, half of the time it's women who have grown up to believe that is the right way to go. They've been conditioned to believe they are inferior. So people who speak against that are going against their set tradition. And then when you look at it, women are the ones that take care of kids, both male and female. They are the ones that would imbibe or continue that culture within the boys and the girls. So while we are also talking to the men, we need to talk to the women as well, so that the next generation grows up with the right mindset, as you have said. Because at the end of the day, if we keep talking to old people like us, we have old.
Rhoda, you are
old. we are growing gray hair already. We need to start engaging the ones who are still wide-eyed, who are still fresh, who are still moldable, to understand that there is equality in male and female. Neither is superior. Just because they are different from each other does not mean one is less than the other.
Exactly. Thank you so much. This next question, because of our time, is for Ifeoma. As a CEO, what practical steps, have you taken to reduce barriers, faced by women in your organization? I'm talking flexible working hours, remote working, maternity leave, that work-life balance.
Was that question for me?
For Ifeoma, and then after Ifeoma, you can, chip in. Yeah.
Okay. I think first thing I do is that whole open door policy. One of the things so you can have policies. I'll go to what I've done. But one thing I always say, have policies and you can have all the good intentions in mind. But if you don't know someone's situation, you really can't help them. So one of the things I always encourage is, look, come talk to me. Let me know what it is you need or you require, so that we're not just creating a policy because we think is the best thing for women, but it actually speaks to your need. COVID has really helped a lot of things and changed the way we do many things, especially in Nigeria, especially when it comes to things like working remotely. There are many companies that didn't believe in that or didn't understand it, and that has helped it. So for women, I say if I I guess it's how I've been brought up. I don't even need to see you in the office as long as you're able to deliver. That is what is important to me, because I can see you sitting in front of me for 12 hours and you're doing absolutely nothing. So we do have remote policy. For nursing mothers, you can take time off work. You have an extra month than you would normally get. You close earlier. You can choose whether you want it before you start work later, or close earlier. We have those things. But I always say, let me know
Hi, Ifeoma.
Yeah. Yes. Can you hear me?
You can go on.
Okay, yes. So we have all these things, but I always say to people, let me know your situation. I'll give you one example of what I've done. There was a cleaner in my office, and I would just like to know the people I'm working with or in my environment. I just need to know about them. And so we have this cleaner. Funny enough, the day I met her for the first time, she was rude. And I told her off, but I also wanted to understand. And I realized that part of her issue was she didn't feel she should be in the position she was because life had just dealt a hard blow
But
to her. So I said to her is if you change your attitude and you keep behaving, you want to go back to university, you have you've gotten admission, you just can't pay for it. I will do that for you. And in less than a year, she started school. And I can tell you how many years later she's a graduate because I was able to help her. But I wanted her to also be able to put that in. So I always say we have policies. You can work remotely. You can either close early or start work later. So we have all those things for women. But again, I always say it's best to understand situation so that we're able to cater to each lady's needs more than just the policy. So that's what I've been able to do in my own little way
yeah.
to women.
Thank you so much, Ifeoma. Detutu, you wanted to add something?
Not much. Part of what Ifeoma said is what I was going to mention, but also what we have put in place is, what I wish many organizations will put in place is having space or maybe a mini crash for nursing mothers. Something I did in the past that really worked was also because of the kind of work we do. It's can be you can burn out real quick. We sometimes take maybe a weekend away for staff to relax. And what I saw that did was it brought us a bit closer, and it made them realize that their best interest is considered. So yeah, just that. Ifeoma has said quite a lot, so that's what I
Yeah.
was going to add.
Thank you for that. And this question is for Rhoda. How can our government promote the economic empowerment of women? And I know that there are a lot of policies and a lot of what's the name? A lot of
Programs.
policies and programs. Thank you.
Yeah.
But however, with all of them available, how can they be tracked? How do we even know they exist? And I just want to get your point from that.
It's mainly a matter of policy and funding. Like you can design the best policy in the world that answers every problem women face. If you don't fund that policy, it will remain on paper. And a lot of times, money does not go into programs like that. Ministries that are tasked with ensuring women have access to healthcare, empowerment opportunities, education, they are grossly underfunded.
Yeah.
So it's hard enough for them to cater for the populace at large, and then having to cater to the unique problems and challenges that women face in accessing this public good, basically. So it boils down to pushing for better, more investments into the implementation of this policy, because we have a lot of policies. We have so many good policies that never see the light of day.
Yeah.
There's so many. They don't see the light of day. There is no funding for them. A basic example is healthcare. Healthcare should be available for everybody. Like good healthcare should be available for everybody.
Yeah.
But you still find out a lot of women die in childbirth because they cannot access health services. A lot of women. A lot of babies die or have high morbidity because of low access to healthcare. So if the government itself can restructure to ensure that things like this that are pertinent to women have enough funding to run, it would improve that. When you look at cases of rights issues, domestic violence, gender-based violence, things like this, you'll find that while we have domestic violence laws and policies that protect women from harm, the number of women that are able to actually access these policies, because there are so few of them being implemented, is very, very low. That's why you see that a lot of non-profits are pouring into women empowerment, and it's still not enough. We know what to do, right? The problem right now is not actually the lack of knowledge or strategy. The problem is, how do we implement these things effectively? Because they are laid out plans. We have the demographic dividend plan that caters to this, that has a gendered aspect to it as well. But who would invest into ensuring that those kind of plans get implemented? Who would invest into ensuring that in every single community, you have a working primary healthcare center that can cater to the needs, the sexual and reproductive health needs and maternal health needs of women? Who would ensure that every community has a primary and secondary school that ensures that women, that girls are able to attend free of charge? So these are the things that they are already in the plan, but who is going to fund it? So that's literally where we stand now.
Yeah. So this next question before we go is, and talking about what is the most efficient way to like work directly with a government resistant to change or slow to progress. Hi, Latasha.
Is that for me? I didn't hear my name. Go on.
Yeah. So I was asking because Rhoda made a good point when she was talking about a
The
government,
policies.
slow the policies, and also I was wondering what is the most efficient way to work directly with a government resistant to change or slow to progress?
When your own people are the ones who are blocking your progress, it can be so frustrating. But I think what communication. We have to communicate the reasons for the change. We have to delegate change makers who are skilled in the art of conversation and politicking and policy making. We have people like that, lobbyists, engaging lobbyists who understand how to penetrate the topic and how to get the ears of the people who matter. Not everybody can get to that seat in order to, because all of us cannot go clamoring to the president's office. Do you understand? So we have to be very strategic. We use data and facts. We can't work with emotion, because when it comes to women issues, people have a way of dismissing us as, oh, they're just angry women. Oh, you know how women can be. So you have to talk to them with the language that they understand. That is data and hard facts, research-based factoids all put together. And then you also have to break it down. So if our ask is this big, is for 1,000, we have to break it down into smaller increments, tens and hundreds and 50s, so that we can feel refreshed. When we get 10, okay, we got 10, let's aim for 50. We get 50, let's aim for 100. So we break it down into small bits. Do you understand? Those asks, we break them down so that as we gain progress and foothold, we become bolder, more courageous. We're able to take the winnings back to say, community, look at what we've been able to do. Now we need your voices to be at this level in order for us to get to the next level of our ask. It's systematic. Change in every way and in every form and in every area will always be resisted. But it has to, we cannot negate the progress that we've made because it is not in leaps and bounds. The suffragettes, when International Women's Day was established, in 1930 something or 1940 something, we are still where we are, but we are a long way from where we started from. So we mustn't give up just because it is not where we want it to be. We just need to keep moving. That is what is important. And then, of course, we internally have to practice change management exercises. What are the systems that we too are putting in place before we can present that to a government that is resistant to change? I'm not an economist. I don't know these fancy big words. I like to break things down very, in little bits so that it's understandable to the layman, because I see myself as a laywoman. You know what I'm saying? So, there's
Thank
something.
you so much.
Why are you laughing at
Natasha?
me?
I'm looking
true.
at the time.
But
I think our time has actually been fast spent, but we just have one more question before. Yeah. But if you can stay, there's no problem. We'll just add an extra 10 minutes, and then so that we can take our last
on the
question.
ladies.
And hi, ladies. Do we have 10 minutes grace?
Yes.
Okay,
I'm still here. I was actually going to. I like
We are
Latasha's
still
response.
here.
I was actually. Can I chip in on what she said?
Yes, please go on.
Nigerians
Thank
are
you,
strong.
Detutu.
I would say. Well, Nigerians are strong. We're tough people. We're really tough people. I work in an NGO, and I know how tough it is to say we want to help a certain demography or want to help a certain group of underprivileged people, and the tough wahala the government will give us. I've had to travel to Abuja to go and get one paper to bring back to Lagos to do all sorts of. It is hard. So we know that this is how Nigeria is. This is how Nigeria is, and we have been able to push through so many. I like what Latasha said when she said it's a long way from where we're coming from, and that's the truth. I always like to look at it that if we've come this far, we can go as far as we want. She talked about awareness and about I'll put it as educating the government, education and awareness. I'll give an example. We are all about child protection and sexual and gender-based violence. Children that have been sexually violated or raped by someone known, when it is time to take them to court or to question them or interrogate them on how the incident happened, you take them to the police station. Police will be asking all sorts of funny questions in the most unprofessional way. So our foundation, Teacher Foundation, created a forensic interview suit where it's a child-friendly suit where the child doesn't even know you're asking them questions to relieve their pain. So that while they're playing with toys and using anatomical dolls, those dolls that have private parts, to explain that this man, did he come on top of you and all of that. We are the first to bring it to Nigeria. The government had no idea about this, and we had been pushing because a lot of cases fall through the crack just because we couldn't get the child to
right
speak on what happened. We don't. I've heard of a police who did forensic examination, medical forensic examination on a child that was abused. So the child was taken to the police station, and they were asked that the police was like, oh, come into the room, let's check. And they were checking the child's vagina, checking to see if she was abused. Completely wrong.
Oh my God.
Completely wrong. So training them, letting them know, a lot of times they don't know these things. So back to FI, the government doesn't know about. They don't know about FI. They don't know, the importance of it. So the importance of it, they don't know the importance of it. So what we did was we educated them. We went to Commissioner of Police Office. We went to Ministry of Justice. We kept shouting about it. What also pushes the government to work is when they see results. You know how it is when they see, okay, there's results, they want to be a part of. you keep doing what you're doing, keep getting the results that you can, get the data. Like Latasha said, we weren't very big on data in Nigeria, but we're getting better. When we get data, we get results, people want to be a part. So we spoke, we created awareness, and now I mean the government wants to be a part. We're about to train FSUs on forensic interviewing. So again, education, awareness, and just keep doing what you're doing, get the results, get the data, and push it out.
Thank you so much, Detutu, for our final. Okay. You can go on,
so
Latasha.
Sorry, can I just say that I've seen that forensic suite because I did a little work for the Yara Foundation at the time. They had an open day, and it's a really fantastic place and space. They're doing amazing work. That suite was completely ahead of its time. We had nothing like that in Nigeria. And I just want to commend them in the work that they're doing. Please keep it up. It is amazing and very important work.
Thank you. And this brings me back to these little groups that we have. Latasha just did something for Chichera, and she's putting out there. We keep speaking, we keep talking, we keep mentoring, we keep shouting. We will get to where we're going.
Yeah, we will.
Thank you, Latasha, for that.
Thank you, Latasha. Thank you, Detutu. For our final question, speaking on mentoring, what advice do you have for young women looking to, shatter ceilings and, join male-dominated industries? This is an open question. Anybody can go first, and then everybody can answer.
Say the question again.
I was talking about your advice to young women who are seeking to shatter ceilings and join in male-dominated industries. For those young women who want to tread the path less traveled by women, basically. So what would be your advice? You can start, anybody can take it up, and then that will be our final question, and then we can go. I think we have one request, and then we can end the session.
Okay, so for me, I would say find a mentoring program. So I think it was 2014, 2015 or so. I was part of the Women in Successful Careers mentoring program. That's WISCA program. And I can say I'm still part of the alumni, and it helps so much because you are surrounded by people who think like you, who understand the challenges that women face and are not afraid to move forward and break those barriers. So that itself gives you confidence to move forward. So find any program, any mentoring program, find one, join one. And then, I know this might sound weird, but if you cannot find a female in the field that you want to go into, find a male who is an ally and follow. What you need is someone to lead that part. So if you cannot find a female, that means you would be the first female and you would make the way for others coming behind you. That's my 2 cents on it.
Thanks, Rhoda. Latasha, Ifeoma, Detutu.
I love what she just said. I love that so much.
My one word is
Detutu, go ahead.
Yeah.
You're fearless and that path which you want to tow. I think you'll get anywhere. Yes, find the mentor, find the mentorship program, but first within you be fearless, step out. That's mine. 1 sentence.
Oh, thanks, Detutu. Latasha.
I'll let Ifeoma go ahead of me, and I'll go last.
Okay. Hi, Ifeoma.
I think I agree with Rhoda as well, is to get a mentor. But most times, I think part of the challenge is finding the right person for where you are. And I always say your network can get you there. So even if you don't know someone or the right person for where you're trying to go to, speak to someone who might know someone who will know someone. So it's to go to find someone, the best option, who can now help you link you. And I agree totally that if it doesn't necessarily have to be a woman, especially when it comes to that field, if there's no woman who has done it or who will be the best for you, it's definitely good for a man who can mentor you. Yeah.
Thanks, Ifeoma.
Um, let me just say that my own cannot be one word. So let me just tell you. First of all, I think that it's nice to, have these external things to look for. But I think, first of all, every young woman should be, first of all, trying to work on herself. What do I mean by this? Overcoming perfectionism. Trying to be perfect will kill you. Understand that you are not perfect. And the men are not perfect either, but they don't sweat the small stuff.
Yeah.
Understand that, digest that, and then work with that as an advantage. Tackling imposter syndrome. These are things that bothered me as a young woman. Like, I was always confident, but I also had to fight imposter syndrome. As a matter of fact, I fight imposter syndrome every day. With every new thing that I accomplished, I have to ask myself, am I worthy of it? And then I have to tell myself, of course you're worthy. You've worked this hard, you've come this far. And these are things that will plague young women along the way. You have to tackle it. Standing in your success and accepting this is also really important. For every little mile that you gain, every inch that you gain, stand in your success, revel in it, celebrate yourself, celebrate your successes, and then move forward. Trusting your own voice as well is important. Dealing with negative thoughts. And finally, just building alliances as well with decision makers, which I guess also speaks to having men as allies if you can't find a woman, but building alliance with decision makers, whether they be men or women, people who you just see getting it or have gotten it, or you can sort of align yourself with the way they think, you like something about them. Just building those alliances are important. Speaking up when the time comes and building confidence. These are things that I think would help every young woman to get to where she needs to be. Thank you.
Wow. Thank you so much, Latasha. Thank you, Former Robinson. Detutu, you guys have been amazing. This has been a very insightful session. I can imagine we had one request, but I don't think she's still on the call. However, this has been great, 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 great. Thank you so much. Thank you for everyone that joined in. Thank you for everyone that's been a part of our, 3 weeks panel. It's been amazing. Thank you for the support. Thank you for everyone that has, come and taken out time to be here. It's such an amazing, amazing session, and I'm happy that I had to do it with 4 amazing women. Thank you so much. Okay, so with that said, I'd like to say wish you a lovely, lovely, lovely day or the remainder of the day and a lovely, lovely week ahead. To have a lovely, lovely time. Thank you so much,
Thank you for
Latasha,
having us.
Thank
Ifeoma,
you.
Thanks, everyone.
Ajibodu. Thank
It was
you. Thank
nice
you
to
for
meet you,
coming. Thank
ladies.
you, Rhoda.
Bye.
Bye
Bye.
bye. Have a lovely
Bye.
day.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.